Hey, welcome back to Dating Diaries. This is the Couples Bible Study Edition, and this is week 6. And this is where I have been very vulnerably giving updates about me and my guy. We have been on a journey where we've been taking each week to focus on a different aspect of our relationship through the lens of a couples Bible study. And the reason why we're doing this, for those that are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad that you found me. For those that have been journeying along with me, thank you so much for sticking it out. We've got 2 more weeks and I feel very encouraged, right? So he and we met a little over, actually, it'll be a year. It might be longer than that. We met through a mutual group. We didn't start to hang out until November of last year. And then in January of this year, we decided to be exclusive. The thing that brought us together was our love for the Lord. And I'm going to do my very best to not do too much blushing because he actually just left not too long ago, dropping off an early Christmas gift for me. And it was a surprise. So, nevertheless, welcome, welcome, welcome to Dating Diaries, the Couples Bible Study Edition. So, we're doing this 8-week Bible study, and it is based on building wisdom, discovering God's design for us together. And the purpose was for us to grow spiritually, emotionally, and relationally while discovering our relationship's alignment to God's plan. Again, this is week 3 where I'm using this same term. We're not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole just because we like each other. We want God's will. You know what I'm saying? So week 1, we went through the foundation, seeking God first together. Week 2 was identity, knowing who you are before who you are with. Week 3, communication, speaking the truth in love. Week 4, boundaries, protecting what God is building. Last week was week 5. It was all about vision and are we going the same way? And as of today, we are wrapping up week 6, which is why I'm bringing our update, because tomorrow we will go to week 7, which means we only have 2 more weeks to go because it's an 8-week study. So this past week, we've been focusing on love in action, serving, sacrificing, and supporting. And one of our foundational scriptures was 1 Corinthians 13:4-7, and I will read it. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, is not boastful, is not arrogant, is not rude, is not self-seeking, is not irritable, and does not keep a record of wrongs. Love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And then the other scripture was Philippians 2:3-4. And that reads, do nothing out of selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility consider others as more important than yourselves. Verse 4, everyone should look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others. And one of the things that I can say about my guy, which is just like, there's so much that I could say about him and so much that I am actually learning in this relationship, because a lot of it is very new. So every week we have a focus. And like I said, the focus is love in action, serving, sacrificing, and supporting. The overarching theme is real love is selfless actions. And then the focus is love grows when we serve and not just feel. And so one of the things that I do love about both of us is that we're very active in our churches and in our community. And I think it's a result of us being active in our churches. Our churches are an extension to the community that we live in. And for me, I'm in full-time ministry. For him, he works 2 different jobs, and then he also has a business. But his priority is serving his church and serving the community of his church. And he's on the worship team. And so, this past Thanksgiving, he actually went down to Virginia to his family's house. And we spoke that morning, Thanksgiving morning, and he was sharing with me how he was just coming back from serving the community there, because he is very much called missionally. He's an evangelist, I think. He doesn't know that. He's probably some other things as well, but he definitely loves to be boots on the ground. And then I also got a chance to serve our community when we did a food drive. So we definitely believe in expressing love in that way to our community. We have yet to serve together. Now, I think I shared this a couple of weeks ago where, he's very simple in the sense of like, hey, I just want to go on the streets and I just want to pass out tracts and I want to, give people food and I'm like, that's great, babe. I love that. He wants to go to Africa and do mission work. Like it's amazing. And so when I think about him and I doing ministry together, it doesn't always materialize in my mind that we would be on the street serving in that way, but we would still be doing ministry in a way, maybe to other couples. Just talking about our journey, I think it's just absolutely phenomenal to see what God can do when you become what you are actually looking for. Let me say that again. He and I met one another through a friend group. And when I tell you, neither one of us was looking. And I think he would say the same. Neither one of us was looking. And because of that, the natural progression of us, it literally was like one day, well, there was a little bit more behind it. There was an incident that happened and he came and he helped me. And then one day we were exchanging on a text and I was like, I think he likes me, but it was like not anything that we would even have thought or pursued. So our love for the Lord and our conversations surrounding how we serve our church and how we serve our community and how we serve our families, I think is really what started to draw this attention, that commonality for both of us. So when we got to week 6 and we're thinking about real love is selfless action, there's these 3 questions that we talked through. And one of them was, when is it hardest for me to love sacrificially? And so for him, I would say it's probably not as hard as it is for me, because if you've been following for some time, we live in the same state, but it feels like we are very much in a long distance relationship. And I most recently, said to him that I do feel like God is protecting and preserving us by not creating a lot of opportunity for us to be in person with each other. Is strengthening us in a very different way, in the way that we communicate, in the way that we problem solve, which is a part of, communication being equally one of our foundational practices. Loving the Lord, communicating, those 2 things have brought us this far. We're almost a year into being exclusive in this relationship. So when I think about what's the hardest is when I see how his schedule is so full, and yet it's full with things that are honoring to God, that is actually advancing the kingdom of God. Now, whether it is him working because he is a man's man, he is a provider. He has 2 children that he is not some kind of weekend dad, right? He is actively in his children's lives. And so his calendar is very full. And so when we're trying to find time for us to be together, to continue to get to know each other better, it's hard. And so the sacrifice for me, I think, is me just acknowledging that God is preserving both of us, and probably more specifically me, by growing and developing me to keep God first, which is also a part of this Bible study. It's like, don't be so focused on the relationship that you're jumping ahead and you're wanting things to move faster than they are. And when I go to explain this, or I go to share rather with intimate people, like I'm sharing a high level update here in this YouTube space just to encourage others, and just very vulnerably sharing my dating journey as an older woman. That it's like, yes, I do know what I want, but I also sense something that others wouldn't sense because it's not their situation, that God is preserving me and him so that we don't ruin what God has ahead of us. Does that make sense? I hope that's making sense to you. So sacrificially, I think, it's the time. Like, I want I'm like, I want more, more, more. But who wouldn't want more of a good thing? And so while he will equally respond that he wants more, he doesn't respond in a way that I do that feels kind of like almost like a child sometimes having a tantrum. And I'm not proud of it, but I'm out here now. It is what it is. Because I just really enjoy being with him, and he does too. But he's also helping me to see that the season that we're in, like, yes, we're getting to know each other, but he's still not, some people will stop doing things when they get into relationships. He's like, I'm not going to stop working the way that I work, in the sense of providing for me and for my children. And I'm actually benefiting as well. As I said, I got an early Christmas gift and had a really great birthday. So I can't complain about a man who is working. So yeah, so there's that. The other question was, how do we support each other's needs practically? Now, here's where I think sometimes this can kind of like flip a little bit, because he recently ran into a situation, and because he is such a man's man, and not to like throw anyone underneath the bus, but I've been in situations where people didn't have a problem asking me for financial help. He's a man's man. And so for me, I said to him just last night, honestly, I was like, hey, there are times where I really want to be more supportive to you, but it feels like there really isn't a need, or you need. And, we kind of had this conversation. He's like, you just want to fix everything. And I was like, it's not that I want to fix everything. I actually just really enjoy being there with you. And I don't want you to feel like you have to go through anything that's really hard. And he has a lot on his plate with his family. He's got a lot on his plate. And the way that he manages it just absolutely takes my breath away, because his temperament is like, why am I going to get upset if I know that this is just temporary, and I'm trusting God and I'm activating my faith? I'm not going to be stomping my feet, or I'm not going to be pouting, or I'm not going to be, talking about it every day, all day. It is what it is. It's going to pass, and that's the end of that. And I actually love that. So for me, I think we're very practical, because when I've had, and I currently have something personal going on as well, he'll say like, hey, do you want me to say something, or do you want me to just listen? And I love that he knows that there are times where I just need to get it out. And there are times where I'm like, hey babe, like, what are you thinking about this? So I think that we got that down, but I still tend to act a little bit more brattier when it feels like, the heck is that? When it feels like, like I can't give the way that I want to, which maybe another time I'll come back and we'll talk about our love languages. But yeah, I think we support each other practically really, really, really well. I do. I feel very grateful. I feel very supported. I feel very seen. And I would say the same for him. I just sometimes think like I want more opportunity to care for him, but he's a man's man, and he's just like, babe, I really am good. And if I'm not, I will tell you. So there's that. Third question. Do we give love the way our partner best receives it? Oh God. Yes. This is like a Selah moment for me. So he gives the greatest hugs. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the videos where it talks about how a good hug can calm down your nervous system. That's what he does. That's what he does for me. He gives really great hugs. He's a great listener. He does not raise his voice. Now, he has, here I go telling on myself again. We were having a heated moment, and I got a little hot, and he was calm, and I don't know if I liked it. Like, I wanted him to get hot with me. So his voice went up an octave, but even in that, it still was nothing in comparison to what I have experienced with other people when it comes to heated moments, right? So I do think that we love the way our partner best receives, because he can see what it is that I need. He can see that there is some pain and triggers that I still am navigating that I actually thought I was healed from. And if you go back to any of my videos back in February of this year, I think, or it might have even been last year when I first started talking about us, where I shared how, he was like, I'm not going anywhere. You can't do anything that I can think of that's gonna make me run or push me away, because I want to be here with you and walk alongside you through this process. He's like, I realize that there are things that I may experience as a result of your past. Does it make it fair? No, but he's like, my shoulders are broad enough and I know what I'm signing up for. So I feel like he's very attentive to me, and I think that I am equally to him. But I also am learning that, one, he is not my husband. He is my man, my boyfriend. And so sometimes I think, and I'm just speaking for myself as a woman, I have taken on a role that is, or have given more to a situation that didn't warrant it. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but like, I'm not his wife. So there are some lines of demarcation of where it's just like, he's not expecting me to respond in that way. Why do I feel the need to do X, Y, and Z? So I think we do. And it's leading right back to the same thing. Like, we are thinking about, even what the scripture says, like, love keeps no record of wrong. And so when I talk about him, it does sometimes come across like he's like all together, but we all got stuff, you know what I mean? But we're not keeping record of it. We are talking through it, and that communication and keeping Christ first is really helping us tremendously. Not perfect, please. Don't look through this screen and think like, okay, I know they got something. Well, we have stuff, and we have had many, 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 many moments. But I will say the reason why we are still walking together and pursuing, a future together is because we're keeping Christ at the center of our conversations. We're filtering what we're experiencing through Christ. And that comes along with that communication, which is just, it's not negotiable. So a part of our reflection this week was, am I more focused on what I'm getting or what I'm giving? And I would say I'm more focused on what I'm giving. Like, I want to give more because he's just such a wonderful man. I think for him, he would probably say that he's focused on both, because he is an equal opportunist. Let me slow down and say that again. There are times where he and I would have conversations about, a man and a woman's role in a household. And he's like, well, what about the man? Well, what about the man? Well, when does the man get the... And I was like, oh, you're an equal opportunist. So you know how they say happy wife, happy life? He like, no, everybody needs to be happy. And I love that. I actually respect the fact that while he will and has shown what he's willing to do to keep our relationship thriving and joy filled and happy, he's just like, hey, whatever you started that brought a smile to my face, I'd like for you to continue to do that. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. So as I get ready to close up, we have our application challenge. Do one unexpected act of service for your partner this week. Well, again, like I said, and he was ahead of this week, because over the last 2 weeks, he has randomly shown up to my place with a gift, which is not my top love language, but clearly I do appreciate the thoughtfulness. He had bought me a card, and he bought me this warm blanket because I'm often spending time out in my living room and just, taking naps or whatever. And it's just a cozy way for me to also be thinking of him. So I appreciate that. And then, like I said earlier, today he stopped by and brought me my Christmas gift, even though I told him I was like taking the day to just kind of be quiet and do some reading and writing and get some other projects that, I like to get done. He was like, yeah, I'm still stopping by because that was my plan. And here I am to bring you an early Christmas gift. And so, I think that he definitely loves to surprise me. I'm growing into that because because he told me, he's like, you just want to be in control. And I was like, well, not really. I don't really want to be in control, but I do get it. Like, I'm learning how to receive in the way that he expresses the things, and it's been very sweet. I think that the one unexpected, acts of service that I gave to him was just the offering of his personal situation that he's going through, to make sure that he knew, like, hey, babe, like, you don't have to walk through this alone. How can I do X, Y, and Z? Whether it was like making sure he didn't have to worry about having something to eat, for a couple of nights while he was navigating through. That's not something that I would normally do, but this week that was unexpected, and that was my way of, letting him know that I was there for him, and that, he didn't have to walk through this situation that he's dealing with by himself. And if I could take one thing off of his plate, then I was happy to do that. So that's week 6, y'all. It's week 6. Come on back for next week. Week 7 is about trust, healing, honesty, and dependence. And we're going to be wrapping up probably that first week in the new year. I actually thought we would be done sooner than that, but I guess I got my days mixed up. But we'll be starting week 7 tomorrow. And I'll come back next Monday, as I said I would, at 8:30 p.m. to give the update of Dating Diaries, the Couples Bible Study Edition. If this is your first time watching any one of my videos, thank you. Thank you for watching. If you click on any of my other full videos or any of my other shorts and the content seems like something that you're interested in, then I encourage you to subscribe. There's so much more coming in 2026. There are things that I will be doing individually, and there are things that he and I are talking through. He is not necessarily camera shy, but this isn't his thing, And so while people are looking to see him, I don't think you need to see him. You can see the smile on my face to know that he's real. And my cheeks still get red at the thought of God sending me a man who is just as kind and thoughtful, not perfect again, right? But just, it just feels really good to be with someone who loves the Lord as much as I do, if not more, because that wasn't my prayer, not to be deep, but I did pray that the Lord would send me someone that loved him, meaning the Lord, more than he loves me, because if that was the case, it would take care of everything. And so we're walking it out. We're figuring things out. And I am being very vulnerable, because I do realize that I run the risk that if this doesn't work, what will my future videos be like? They're going to be honest, because that's what happens here on this channel. It's faith, it's lifestyle, and a part of me walking out vulnerably in front of this camera is to continue to be honest. And if there's one sister, one brother, one couple that I can share by sharing my journey in dating as an older woman, then I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. So thanks again for watching. Come back next week. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss anything. And if you are really enjoying this and you haven't shared with someone, what are you waiting on? Share it with someone else. Why keep all the goodness to yourself? I'll see you guys next week for week 7's update of Dating Diaries, the Couples Bible Study Edition.